I could actually sit. I, I could sit out 2, 3 days and be fine because I know my setup's going to come,
Right.
sometime during the week.
The key is waiting for that week, huh? For that time in the week for it to come. Alrighty. There we go. So what pair did we do last week? Was it we did two pairs last week, didn't
Yeah, we did pound USD and we did pound CAD.
we? All right. So what's pair we haven't done in a while? Have we done pound JPY in a while?
Not in a while.
I don't think we've ever done pound Swiss, have we?
I don't think you want to, but yeah.
You know,
Nothing against it. That thing doesn't move except on trending days. It kind of reminds me of EJ. If you can get in on a all day move, it's
right.
awesome. But I mean, it's fine, I guess. It's just I don't
Wait, let's
resonate.
let's how about this? Let's start out on pound JPY, and then we'll go on to something. We'll do a week of that, and a week of something else. What do you think? Something. All right. All right. So it's recording. All right. Pound. So pound JPY. What do we have the previous week before? What kind of a cycle was the previous week before?
Looks accumulation.
Accumulation, right? And then the week before that was what?
That was a trending cycle.
Trending cycle. So trending cycle followed by an accumulation cycle. So to me, it almost looks like that trending cycle is like a coming from the bottom of like a peak formation, right?
Yeah, agreed. The Thursday before the trending cycle.
Right. And so it moved into a trending cycle and then accumulation cycle, obviously, which basically created the level. You know what I mean? For like, let's say, whatever, a 4 hour time frame or whatnot. So now going into a whole new week, let's replay this sucker. Come on. So let's see what happens here on Monday. So I mean, straight move up, which only gives us what option? What's the only thing you can take from here?
Reversal.
Right, to be like a type 1 pattern.
And if you look back, this could actually almost be peak formation. I don't know what the ADR is, but it looked like there was two smaller levels before this level.
So this was JPY is like what 120 or something like that. Let's see. What's the from here? So I mean, that's a 1,000 pips in a week. What, in 2 weeks?
Yeah, and I mean ADR is only 143 right now, so I don't.
So I don't know what it was back then, but I mean,
It's
I
yeah,
would probably
1,000
assume it's
pips.
pretty big though, because this is right in the middle of the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? So the numbers were astronomically, probably exaggerated at that time, because look at the look at the ADRs on London, 200, 300, you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, that's right. And like March was like crazy. Yep, I
Right.
do remember
Right.
seeing
So
that.
that's the thing. So this is probably going to be like, I don't think the ADR is going to help us a lot probably here because of that. You know what I mean? Because the numbers are just going to be way off. Because you're going to have 300 pip moves in literally one session, like happened here in London session and stay here. You know? So I don't think necessarily that's going to be helpful. I do see, though, that they don't want to go past this high, it looks like. You have previous week's high up here, and then you already have them kind of chopping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you see this that little structure there of back and forth, back and forth. So a break outside of that structure is what we're looking for. And then you start looking at things like, let's say a TDI is already overextended here, and it looks like it's already creating divergence here. So what's the actual what's going to be the pattern there, or the candle? It's probably going to be it right here.
What made you think that candle is it? Just out of curiosity.
I don't even think it's this candle. I'm just saying that this candle is closing below all this, and then you got another candle that's closed below that. You know what I mean? So it's not staying essentially within that little.
Yep, the range. Okay, I see it now.
You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
Yep.
The candle that you want is more of an aggressive candle, like that. Yeah. So a candle like that. So then the question becomes, do you get any kind of a pullback? Because you're pretty far off here. So you'd want, I don't know how big is that candle. It's probably pretty big, even though it's almost a 20 pip candle. So you want half of that candle back on a pullback. So let's say it'd be something like somewhere here. Somewhere like that. And then, the first is the 50 here. It'd be a 2-to-1 just to the 50. That'll give you 36 pips right there. Anything after that, obviously, is a gift. So if you get a pullback, that would be the entry there. So that was right there. There's your pullback on the candle. There's two pullbacks actually. They both go to about almost the same area there. So you get two pullbacks, and literally that one candle, and you're done. Do you see that? That was probably the quickest trade you ever been in. 15 minutes later, you're done. What is this? This is okay. So this is the beginning of the U.S. session. This is 8:30 almost. 8:30, 8:45. You're pinning to the 50. This is also, you can see pinning to the 50 as well. Right there. So let's see what happens here. I was going to say that one right there. The important thing is, though, if you look back, this high here from the previous week is still there. It's still good. If we go further back, there's structure there. So does this go up and break that and go up higher? Or does it, what does it do? You might be asking yourself, like, why not take a continuation trade here? And really, I think for me is like it's way, way past, way up, too high above this Asian range. For me to want to take that. Let's go to this next day here. So far, we're respecting essentially last week's, the previous week's high, right? Because Sunday, Monday went up to that same high there. And it didn't go past it, which is good. So far we're in this, we're basically still following this range here. You can see the EMAs are starting to get together too. The 200's already going straight through price. The this 800 now is getting caught up to price. If you're looking at this, I don't know if it'll let me do it. Let's see. This is so look at it on a 1 hour time frame. What level would you be at on a 1 hour time frame? Or even if you go up a 4 hour time frame. What level do you think you'd be at?
That looks like a level 3.
Looks like a level 3.
Yeah, the way I'm counting, it looks like the peak formation low, then a fake move up to induce people to go long, then 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so you're looking at, there's your peak. This is 1. Are you counting this as 2 and then this is 3?
Yeah, but that big spike, I didn't even really count that because I know what that's about.
You're talking about this right here?
Yeah, I didn't even count that at all.
Yeah. Well, I figure this whole thing is just part of 1 here. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like I dismiss this whole, the whole thing altogether. I just count this. You could think of it as well. If you go down to the smaller time frames, you could have counted it. Let's just say as 1, 2, as peak 1, 2, and then reset, and then go from there. Because you can still get the same amount essentially If you go down to the smaller time frames, it's just depending on what what kind of time frame are you essentially working with.
And it's also looking like a squeeze right now until they break out of it. Like
Correct. I mean, if you
the
look at it,
AX.
yes. Look at um, the 200s below, the 800s above on the 1 hour,
Yep.
and it's just going to squeeze it, yeah, until it breaks this. So, if it were to break this here, then you're going to have a trending cycle, right, for the rest of the week. If it doesn't break down, it stays here, you're pretty much going to have that just continue on. All right, so let's see what happens here on this. You almost have that damn near same thing. This is what, 7? So 7 o'clock. So not really the best one to trade there. So a couple things. So the timing is not the ideal timing because this is like 7:15, 7:30. And then notice how on this one it didn't quite make it up to the top here where we want it to go to. So that's not what we want. So now we're going into the US session because this is what, 8 o'clock. The question becomes that I want to see is, does this high still stay, intact, or do we break it and go? Does it go basically higher? Because if it comes back down or gives you a pattern to come back down, that'd be a good trade. Other than that, though, there's not going to be there wouldn't be a trade because what's the setup? It's not. It wouldn't be a continuation trade because you're like all the way. You're too high up here to even think or consider that. The only play that you would have here is to get a pattern to come back down. Does that make sense? It's the only thing that I'd be interested in trading. All right. So what happened here?
Broke previous week's high, so now they have those guys in the market, probably breakout traders.
Right. So they got all the people that probably had a bunch of buys here.
End of day traders and all that stuff. Yep.
Right. They got them into a trade now. This right here tells you they don't want to go any higher. They come back.
The only thing I don't like about that, I would want to see one more push to the high, but I can see if it would go. But if it goes back up one more time, then that would be 3 pushes. And after that, I would know. But
Yeah, well, I kind of almost see like this would be like one big push. This would be the second push, and then this is the third push.
Yep.
So you got the 3 pushes here from that aspect. It even went over. So it makes it look like a you know, like a move is a breakout basically. But this looks to be a reversal. Ideally, the next candle should, you know, should be a down candle, because if it dances sideways here, then that's a different story. But if it moves down, then it'd be good. Or it'd be a good trade there all the way down. See, there's that move down. So how many pips was that from? So from here, it's 80 pip move from middle of this candle down. So 80 pips to 22 pips. I mean, what is that like? It was like almost a 4-to-1. Almost a 4-to-1 on that. So notice something. Notice how this 800 has consistently stayed in a slope of rising, and price seems to go down, bounce, go down, bounce. Do you see that? So still creating essentially higher highs, even though it's within that structure there, because there's a high, there's a low, there's a high, there's a low there. Does that make sense? Do you see that? So if you see that, that right there should help you think about, okay, what's going to be the next possible trade setup? Because this looks like it's a trending cycle, even though it hasn't really completely broken out of that structure here. It's still continued to manage, at least for the last 2 days, to make higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. This may be a higher low here. So if that's the case, then you would want to get something that maybe bounces off of this 200, like a type 3 setup, or at most a type 2 setup here. I don't think they would want to come back down and hit this before going back up again, because then that would kind of like negate the creating of a higher low. The higher low needs to stay above this one. So it just makes perfect sense for this to go and do that if it's a trending cycle that week. You can see the TDI is pretty much coming in and squeezing in together here. So all right, so I can tell you this is looking like this would be the first leg here like this. This would be the apex, the middle. So you'd want something to come back down and create the second leg, and then that would go. See that right there? See, look how that candle spiked, and they all spiked to the same area, but look where the actual candle literally went to the same exact target.
It's the same spot at that big spike to the left too, off that M that we took a trade off too.
Yeah, so it's like literally right there. And yeah, you're right. Yeah, for off of this M here. So that where are you taking this to? Because you don't have the EMAs, so or you could do something like this. That's previous week's high first. And then anything after that, you can go as high as up to here, which is pretty much yesterday's high or peaking yesterday's high. And it'd be something like that. If you're wrong, you just want to be wrong literally within the next candle or two and just be done with it. But you're always waiting for the second leg to appear. You don't just randomly take it off of the first. You always wait for the second leg to appear. If the second leg doesn't appear, just don't worry about taking it. Damn, like literally right to that yesterday's high.
Hey, you can tell who was following that trade, who got in late.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see if it. Yeah, see. So now it's see. It's well above that now. So you have boom, boom, creating its higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So it's Thursday now. I mean, you're in a trending cycle. What the hell do you expect?
Nice little bounce off the 50.
Exactly. Either bounce off the 50 there. That would make it like right at a type 2 at the bottom there. Hell, even a bounce maybe off of that line. You know, the previous week's high here, or maybe even spike down to the 200.
Oh yeah, there'll be sell stops down there for the long trade. Yep.
So there's your previous week's high here. There's your 200. So either this, one of these three is going to happen. Damn, you can't make that shit up, can you? There's your one-legged move there. Although this right here, this movement sideways actually can give you a chance to get into the trade, because I don't think you're going to get a second leg out of this. So if you could have like a what is that, a buy limit order, you can put a buy limit order, like to get a good entry, need it to be somewhere down here, somewhere close to the 50 here. That would still give you a decent entry, because you don't want to get in all the way up here. It's too high. But down here, you can somewhat control your risk, to 14, 15 pips. And then, I mean, where do you take it to? Shit. You can at least take it, if you just go to the high of Asia, it's still a 3-to-1 trade just to get there. Anything more than that, is a gift. But you're still able to get 46 pips out of it just by going to the high. And I mean, this is like way higher time frame all the way up here. That would probably be if you can get a move down there like that. Like literally that right there. That railroad track right there. And pinned right to that freaking 50. See that? The 6, 7, 15, 8. And if you miss that, think about this. You had a one-legged move like this that went up. It came down. Look what time it is. What time is it? Like 7:30 or so. So this could lead you to a continuation trade. If it's going to go higher here. It's just like it's too early though, because it's like 7:30. You want it to be, if this was happening like right at 8 o'clock, 8:15, that would be ideal. But this is happening like 7:15, 7:30. It's way too early though. It's the only bad thing about it. Damn, so that would have been right here. 8:15, 8:30. See that? 8:15, 8:30 right here. So think about you already had one trade here that hit take profit on this. You had a move down. So think of it like this. Like that would have been a move up, down, and then a railroad track on the second leg. That would have been a second freaking trade there on the railroad tracks. And that by itself, that's another 55 pips just on that, on 2 candles. Like you're talking about just getting 2-to-1, which is like here. So that's 2 trades you would have hit on back to back. Anybody else see or see this during back testing where you get a type 3 in London and then you get a continuation in New York?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Or is it just me making that observation?
No, I've seen it. But I think it works out good that way when that 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock hour, if they're going to use that hour to stop hunt back into the trend, and then at 8.
Yes, absolutely, man. Abso-freaking-lutely. But I mean, that's 2 trades in one day. And at that time, I mean, this was in April, so this was moving crazy amounts of pips every day. So it made its higher high. Come back down to make its higher low. This is what, going into Friday now. So you had a trending cycle that week. And didn't who counted what 3 levels, right? Did you have who counted 3 levels? Troy, right? You counted 3 levels on that?
Yeah, before it made that extra level, the peak formation, yeah, counted 3.
So if it was 3, then this would have been
Probably peak.
peak here then, you think? So Friday we could expect maybe even a turnover or what? I mean, this thing is squeezing out hard right here. So I don't know. You're still looking for buys because that's where you still have a trending cycle, but because you have a trending cycle, and then let's just say you had a trending cycle, and then you're counting levels at the same time, and you notice that this right here could be your peak. You're not expecting that trade really to break that. It'd be really to almost like match it to make like an M here or something. But for a buy trade here, it'd have to make sense, either a type 2 trade or maybe a bounce off the 200. Because I think, yeah, the 50 is going right through it, or right through price, I should say. So that's not going to really be involved in it too much. Right there. Do you see that? There's one hit here, second hit here, 3. As 3 hits in a row, back to back. So that right there would be kind of behavior that you're looking for. Yeah, see. There it is. That ain't coming back. Other 10. See, I can't stress this enough, man. Is learning the stupid behavior that they do every single time. So it's one thing to know the patterns, right? And it's one thing to wait for the confirmations and stuff like that. You ever wonder how somebody can possibly get into a trade, let's say here, and not have to wait to get into a trade here? Is because they know the pattern behavior that market makers are doing. So if you can understand the behavior of what happens it's the same thing over and over and over again. So as long as it's in the right time, you'll see the same thing over and over and over again. So when you learn the behavior, you'll be entering here instead of having to wait to go up here. So then your trade setup, when you learn behaviors, is literally like this. Like it's stupid. Like it's something like that compared to something like this. Do you see the difference? It's like you give yourself an advantage. You know, in this case, it was only about 7 pip advantage. So, you ever been in a trade and you're trying to get to 30, but it only gives you like 25 and then it reverses? You ever been in a trade like that?
Yep.
We're just like, bro, how come it didn't give me the 30? It actually did give you the 30, but this right here is the difference. Right there. And so this isn't going to happen. That kind of trading isn't going to happen overnight. It takes a long freaking time to get it. But if you like literally stick to like one or two pairs, and you do the back testing just on those 2 pairs, you'll start to learn the behaviors, boom, 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 on those 2 pairs. And it's something that you'll get. And you won't be scared because you'll be anticipating it. Like how many times when we were doing back testing and stuff several weeks ago, was, you know, where you're having like trending cycles and we're like, what do you expect the next day? So, you know, where price, depending on where price is, you expect like a type 3 or a type 2 or whatever. You're literally predicting this stuff based on where price action is and what it's been doing the whole week. You know? So I'm telling you, the more that you do the back testing and stuff, and you learn the behaviors literally that happen on whatever pairs you're trading, you're going to get really good at this shit. All right, so we did a week on pound JPY. Give me a different pair, and let's do a different pair.
What about pound CAD?
We did that last week. Give me one we haven't done in a while.
You want a slower moving pair?
I don't care. I just, you know, a pair.
All right,
all
right, USD CAD.
Oh, USD CAD.
That's not as bad as USD AUD, but USD
Well,
CAD.
actually, you know, USD CAD, I think it's kind of simple though, bro.
It is.
It's, you know why, right? Because the thing has been in a downtrend for like almost a year and a half. So it's let me go up to a 1 hour time frame here, and let's do. You want to do during pandemic or before pandemic?
We can go during, just for some volatility.
All right, so let's do May, I don't know, 11th. Let's go back a little bit. This is the beginning of the week, so all right. So, ooh. All right. So, what do we have? What cycle is this?
That looks like a market maker.
Yeah.
It's like a market maker, right? All right.
Market maker followed by trending.
Let's see. So on that pair, so we have that in the week. Week before that, we had a trending. All right, so let's play this out here. So moving out of the middle. It looks like a type 3 right there, doesn't it? Does that look like a type 3 at all? Or is it just me?
It looks like a type 3. I couldn't see the spike because the candles are real small, but yeah, I see it now. That second spike to the
Yeah, it almost
then
had that what do you call it? That the star pattern right there on the second leg of that.
Yep.
You're right, couldn't see it very well, but yeah, that looks like a star pattern on the second leg there. So that would have been a good ass entry right here. If you missed it, I mean, shit. Here's another entry here as well. So let's see, where does that look like? So an entry after this star pattern here would look like this. And I mean, you would take it to the 200. That would be one entry there. Second entry, if you missed that, would be this is the second opportunity here. Same thing to the 200. You're essentially almost risking almost the same thing actually on this one. Now, I wouldn't enter on this second attempt, though. I wouldn't enter it until the next candle, because if the next candle goes higher, then that gives you a better entry. You know what I mean? So you always wait for the next candle, so at least you know, okay, hey, it's doing what I want it to do. So like there, like that. That would be the entry there. So it's about a 10 pip difference in entries. What time is it? So 7:15, 7:30, 8. Damn, like almost made it to the 200 by like, so it's what, 67 and yeah, about 56. So 10 pip difference between this one and this one. So Notice how the whatchamacallit, this 50 has basically price has been bouncing off the 50 here. It's almost acting like a call it like a vertical or um, moving resistance wall there on that. So I'm kind of wondering whether this could end up being like another type 3 and bounce off of here or not. Oh shit. That's right at 430. No. Do you see that? Does everybody remember what this is? That I told you you'd see again? Do you guys remember that pattern?
I don't remember what you said, but I know what it's doing. But
It's a big, so anytime you get a big candle followed by either, 1, 2, or 3 dojis, and then you get another big candle, that's a reversal right there. That's definitely a reversal. So if you see that, that's going to be a reversal. So I mean, that's a 2 to 1 right there. This is what, 9 in the morning. I would say this is a nice reversal, but the 50 is right there, so I don't think that's even worth. It's only 18 pips, so it's not worth it. That pullback though would have been worth it. That pullback went down to here. Well, that probably would have been worth it if you had a like a pending order down here. Yeah, see, that would have been worth it. And it just goes sideways. All right, so what does this look like right now? Do we have any kind of indication at all as to what this looks like? Or what kind of a weekly cycle, let's say, it looks like? Trending? Yeah, it looks like a trending cycle, right? Because on Sunday, Monday, you're coming off of looks like a high, and then you pretty much made like lower lows on Tuesday. I want to pay attention though to where the EMAs are. So look at the EMAs, all of them. They're going straight through price. You see that? So because they're going straight through price, likely that it's basically like an accumulation cycle. You pretty much have like your high, let's say off of and then your low here. Your low there. And then you see all the bigger EMAs, including the 800, are going straight through price. Right. So this is just, it looks like an accumulation cycle. So if this is an accumulation cycle, then obviously you're bouncing from here, back and forth. So if that's the case, then prices looks like it's already moving down. So I'd want to see if we get a reaction, right? So you're gonna hear me talk about behaviors. Talk about this little box here and see if we get any kind of reaction. If price makes it down inside of this box to where you saw the reaction before here. And look at this down here as well. So let's see what happens. Because at this case, if price gets down here, right, and you get a pattern, you'd want to buy it. You know what I mean? You'd want to buy it, essentially. So, I mean, look at where the they're all even higher. You see that? So it's even higher then they're not really wanting to go down and spike it even more than what they're already doing, or that particular area, I should say. See, so you see spike. This one candle, as little as it is, took out 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically an hour of trading. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? One candle took out an hour of trading, and then now this had a spike, boom. So if you're looking at this, this pullback here could have been a good entry for you to get into a trade. And I mean, the risk is so small that, I mean, just by going to the middle of the range, you're already getting a 2-to-1. Going all the way up here is probably like a 4-to-1. Yeah, like a 4-to-1. So, see what I mean? So literally, there you go. $637. I'm already looking at this right here as a 7 o'clock. It needs to be lower. So I mean, literally, you see how I went from the bottom to the top again? That's kind of surprising. It did it all in one day, but you see what I mean? So now going into Thursday, is Thursday, right? Yeah, going into Thursday, if price is staying at this high and you get a pattern, right? You'd be looking for what?
Looking for sells.
You'd be looking for sells.
It would be nice. It'd be nice if they spiked it.
Right. It would be nice if they spiked it. Yeah. What's up, man?
Hey, on that, when it came up to that hit and came back or just to the 50, would you taking a long trade there or just wait for the pattern there? Down at the
So
bottom?
here,
Yeah. Well,
you're saying if you didn't catch the trade or if you're
right,
already
yeah, but you didn't catch it at the bottom there where you initiated it. You tried to catch that.
I think that this right here is right at the edge. I think this is like 7 o'clock, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, you see, you have all the parameters are still there though, because you know, you can see this is the bottom here, and it bounces off the 50
Right.
as well. So you're bouncing off the 50 here. You know, we know that we're basically in an accumulation cycle because of the EMAs. So I mean, if you miss this setup here and you see that, I mean, if you can take it, yeah, you can take it. Your stop loss is going to be literally right here though, because if you're wrong, you just want to be wrong right away.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I mean,
Yeah.
the risk of that trade for you specifically is not going to be very it's not going to be very big. We're talking like 10 pips,
Yeah.
you know? So it's the risk is small anyways for you to have that.
Okay. All right. I think I've been back testing last week. I think I've been going through the charts too fast. Just kind of seeing what you're doing now. How you go through it. I was kind of flying through them, not really paying attention to a lot of this detailed stuff.
Well, I mean, you got to pay attention to the behavior, really. You know what I'm saying? If you
Yeah.
get the behavior down, I think that's going to help you out tremendously, and figuring out the your perfect entry for these kind of trades like that. So,
Thanks.
yep. So I mean, there's a spike that happens super early. Let's see. Yeah, there's no setup there, man. God damn, that thing moves so early. Let's see if we can we get a continuation maybe? 8:15. So somewhere around here. Okay. No. No, no setup there. Look at that, man. The whole day. The whole day. Sheesh. How about that? Look what it made. Look at that. A humongous M. Do you see that? Look at that. Nice little big M. From here all the way down. How about that? How nice of them. All right. So you saw you broke the structure of the accumulation cycle, right? So do you remember what you're looking for afterwards now? Like what would you be looking for now? Right, you'd be looking for sells. So if I'm looking for sells, I want to sell that bounces off that damn 50 or even the high um the high of Asia or literally that 50. So like either a type 3 or a type 2. Does that make sense? And then what would help confirm that is if on the TDI here, if we can get a bounce off the 50 as well, that would be even better Fantastical. Anybody want to trade that? Or no?
Star pattern off the 50.
Star pattern off the 50.
You could, that'd be a small risk.
It would be a small risk. I think. I don't think it'd be a big risk. Let's see. It'd be like a 12 pip risk, 13. I mean, that's a 2-1 there. You can even get a little pullback on the next one, which would have been, could have saved you like maybe another 3-4 pips or so. One, two, three, four, five. Stop. Dude, One, two, three, four, five, six. So 6 right here, 6 candles. This is 7 candles now. Do you stay in it or do you get out? What would you do?
That's a
Get out.
Friday, so get out.
Friday. Nathan says first leg with type 3. That could be the case also, Nathan. Yeah. So it's Friday though, right? Yeah, it is Friday. So if you break even, if you get out of the trade, break even. Let's just see what happens. Let's see. All right, that candle would have taken you out anyways. This is what, 7:30. Man, that high never got taken out either. The high never got taken out. So this is probably going to go right here. You have 1, 2. This will be the third. I mean, there's the only way I would get into this if you have a pullback. If you don't have a pullback, there's no way to get into that. So it'd be like a sell limit order, like somewhere like in the middle of that candle, because then you could still get. I would only risk like maybe 10 pips out of it, because if I'm wrong, I'd just be wrong right away. So I got break even on this one, and then this one, I'm basically taking almost the same risk. Because you're still bouncing off of this 50 here. That trade got me in. There you go. There's one candle. A 1 candle trade. So 1 candle trade. So Nathan, it was actually like 3 legs, not just 1. So 3 legs, not just 1. It just sends. Cool. Yeah, the 50 was pushing price down, yeah. Exactly. Any questions? That was pretty interesting to do USD CAD. Cool. Well, you guys want to do one more week, or are you guys good?
I'll stick around for another week.
We could do another week, but I love back testing, so I'm different.
You're a different breed.
Yep.
What's give me a pair. What's a pair that with the we've never done any AUD pairs. I suck at AUD pairs actually. That's why I don't trade them. Somebody pick a pair then. AUD NCD. Let's cut that out. Oh shit. Do you want to do pre-pandemic or pandemic?
Let's do pre.
Before? All right, let's do before. Let's do the beginning.
In what way, Mark, in what way is the pandemic affecting Forex currencies all over the world?
I mean, it was, well, when it first started, I think now it's kind of settled down. But when it first started, I mean, you had pairs that were doing like literally 300 pip moves in one session. And then the next session after that, it would do another 300 pips.
But everything's basically evened out. We're kind of
I would say it's definitely a hell of a lot better than it was
in March,
like
April,
back
May,
in March.
June.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I mean, now, you know, back in March, you looked at pairs like Euro USD that normally had like 50 pip average daily ranges, they were having over 100 pip ranges. And then now it's
Right.
kind of creeped back down to like 60s, you know, 68 or so. So yeah, it's definitely been a lot better in that aspect of it. But yeah,
Okay.
it should go back to normal. I think now that you know, now that the election shit's all over with, Brexit, all that shit's over with now, and vaccines are out and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Unless Trump does some other stupid bullshit, we should be good.
Okay.
So
Thank
let's
you.
just pray for that. Guy can't tweet, but he can set up a nuclear bomb. How about that? Pretty amazing, isn't it? Pretty amazing.
Crazy.
How is that possible? How is that possible, bro? You can't use Twitter, you can't use Facebook, you can't use Instagram, but you literally can set off a nuclear bomb. Like, that just doesn't make sense at all to me. Like, it's just ridiculous. I don't know. All right, let's see. The previous week we had trending cycle. It looks like so 2 trending cycles back to back, 3 trending cycles back to back. Shit. All right, so this is going to be an interesting week then.
Oh, they want their money back. It might chop.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. For that many damn trending cycles to be happening like that. Let's see. So, I mean, there's one right there, bro. That's that right there. There's a type 3 right there. We can start getting the money back right now. That's pretty big though, isn't it? No, I don't think it is. So this is okay. It's only 10 pips. It's not that big a deal. So this pullback here, you're only risking like 9 pips. Damn. What's the average on this pair?
It's 64 right now, so
Oh,
who
okay.
knows back.
It's not really that crazy then. All right. Shit. So where do you take this to? All right. So this is not going to get you 2 to 1. So 2 to 1's going to be here. So what if we take it to structure? I'm looking at this structure here, kind of like this box.
How about to that point right there at the beginning of that,
Like up here?
where they spiked it at the beginning? No, at the very beginning on the left of that box you just created, right there where they spiked it.
Let's see. Well, where's 2 to 1? Where does that go to? That goes here. That's only like 18 pips though. The pip value on this is very low. On this pair, it's very low, I assume. So shit. That sucks. So yeah, let's just go 2 to 1. And then let's see anything after that would be good. But yeah, I'm thinking these 64 500, 60 250, those kind of ranges. Yeah, it literally went right to that, right around that section there. Good call on that. About 450. Okay. Oh, shit. All right, so this had a huge return. Huge return back up. So one of 2 things. What are you guys thinking about this? That it
Maybe market maker cycle, maybe they're going to go straight up and then reverse on Wednesday.
Yeah, this guy's talking about resetting for a trending cycle. All right. Let's set some, since we don't know, let's set some lines just so we can have a guidance. So there's our high, and then here's our low. So let's just use that to start with. Yeah, if you go to the middle, if you go to the middle here and bounce off of that, that'd be a good trade. Yep. I was going to say that would have been a good second leg here, but kept going. All right, so where are we at? This is 8:30. So right at the beginning of the U.S. session. So you basically had a straight move up, literally the entire day. You're all the way up here, also on the TDI as well. So really, the only thing that you could do, since you're so far up, is hope for a reversal. Because if it just keeps going up, then obviously there's no trade there at all. So the only play that you have here is a reversal. That's it. So, all right. This right here, if you get one more candle that closes below, like that one, pull back a little bit, yeah. So would anybody take that as a reversal?
I would have taken it, but I wouldn't have gone that far. I would have took it at the pin at the top after
At the
that
pin at the
third
top.
push.
Yeah.
Right. Then I would have used the red candle as my stop.
Some behavioral stuff, right? You're getting good at their behavioral stuff, man. All right, so this would be like a 9. I mean, the pip value here is so small that you can, it's only 9 pip risk. But you go into the middle of the range, that would give you.
Are you looking? Troy, are you looking at the pushes that are just in London and in New York? Is that what you're looking at?
It depends on how it's set up. If it's like a push in a individual move, I'll look at the individual candles. But if it's like how can I explain? Like if it's 8 candles that forms a push, then a pullback, I count that as one push. One push, one level of rise, 2, 3. Because most moves end in 3 pushes.
3 pushes, yeah.
Yep.
It could be 3 candles. It could be 3. You could have basically, you know how you have this right here, right? Right? The MAAW. These right here could be the pushes. Intraday. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it could be like, you could have like, let's say a W here, push, 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 and then a reversal. Do you get what I'm saying? So that the pattern itself, this pattern of W, VV, M, and then M, AAW, it's not set on any kind of time frame. It could happen on any time frame. It could happen intraday. It could happen very small and very big. You know what I mean? So depending on the type of time chart that you're looking at, then it could happen as small. If you're looking at on a 15-minute time frame, it could literally happen like this. By the time you get here to the New York session, you're doing the reverse. You know what I mean? So it could be like that. It could be intraday. Right, so it's Wednesday. So Wednesday, technically we're still in that range. Right there.
Yeah, and it's formed a big M again, or in this pair.
Yeah, you could say that a big form M, but
Yeah.
I'm saying this is a whatchamacallit, oh my god, a star pattern here. If you're saying that it's a like a multi-day, you can do that also. I mean, the risk is like on this because of the pivot value is so small. It's like almost nothing. I mean, that's a 3-to-1 there just to get to the lower part. So do the 200, do the middle. That's almost 2-to-1. 200, it's almost a 3-to-1. It's almost like to answer your question before about the pushes. Like, here's like one push, here's another push, here's a third push. Do you see it?
Yep, I see that now.
And so what is this? This is still stupid early, but see, you have 3 pushes, literally like what, an hour and 15 minutes of straight movement sideways. And then watch, work the way up. It's like clockwork. Watch them probably go to here and stop. You see? Just go here to the previous week high, stop. Spike. Spike. It's just behavior. That's all it is, really. This is what, Thursday? Man, what kind of crap is this? Accumulation cycle? Because, I mean, it's pretty much stayed here within that range every time. Spike, spike, spike. Do you see what I mean? Spike. Do you see that? Keep spiking, 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 spiking. Why would you spend an hour just like spiking shit? You know? Think about that. Why would you spend an hour spiking stuff? There's that last spike right there, probably. So, like 2 to 1 is like here. I mean, a 2 to 1, you'd have to go here somewhere in the middle. I'd say the middle to be safe because this is too short to get a 2 to 1. And then anything after that would be great. Another spike. Boom, look at that. There you go. It's so funny because that candle, it looks pretty big, but it's probably only like 10 pips. If it was like on a pound NZD, that'd probably be like a 50 pip candle. But yeah, there you go. That's all just behavior, man. God. Just behavior. Stop. All right, so this is Friday. You can see it's like it stayed within that range. This is an accumulation cycle. You just don't have that kind of traditional, where you have this 800. I think is because you don't have the 800 going through price. I think that's because you've had literally like freaking 3 weeks of trending cycles back to back to back. You know what I mean? So this thing was so far away that by the time it started to consolidate, it didn't give it a chance for price, for the EMA to get caught up so it could go through price action itself, But this definitely seems to have hit a target. If we go back. Yeah, see this? Look at this. Do you see that? This is from April. And this is what, September? So look what happened back in April. Spike, down, spike, down. You see that? So accumulation, this is probably going to drop. This is what we're coming to Friday. So Friday is a good day for the drop to happen, actually. So if you were wanting to see a drop out of this, if you look at where price action is now, what would you want to see?
I would want to see them hit the stops at the high of the day or the next swing high to hit the stops there.
Yeah.
Other than that, I wouldn't even look at it.
Yeah. I think for me, the part that kind of gets me is the fact that you have the two bigger EMAs here, which I think is probably going to press down price. I think if you get a spike, you'd probably get a spike to be like a type 2 or something like that. But because both of these stupid EMAs are here, I don't think it would let that, let price go through essentially. But ideally, it would be a nice spike and then drop. Yeah. It's just hanging around the middle there. And then that's the candle right there that pushes it. Yep, there you go. They're not coming back. Let's see, what time is it? 5 something? Maybe you can get a continuation trade out of this. That'd be the only shot. But I mean, you still got like friggin' 2 more hours to go. So 7:15. It's like 3 more candles. $8.15. So the play here, I think for me, would be a continuation trade, but it's really far from the freaking 50 though. So if this next candle goes like straight down, I don't think it'll be a, like for me, I'd want to take a continuation trades that are like somewhere in this area. So somewhere like right here where it's at now, I don't think it'd be would be something that I would like to trade. I want it to be like way too far away from all that stuff like that. So shit like that. You see that? Do you see the spike to the 50 there? That would be a good setup there. Damn, look at that. That's a good setup right there. That freaking spike. That would have been like 30 something pips. And just consolidates right at the 50. Interesting. Yeah, look, it went right to the low too. Sunday, Monday. You see that? So it went all the way up, hung around the whole week, and then finally dropped right to Sunday, Monday's low. Very interesting, I would say. Cool.
They had 3 pushes on Friday, huh? That's
Yeah,
cool.
you see that? You see them, right?
I mean, that's just screaming at you.
So pretty interesting stuff. All right. So you guys have any questions?
Thanks, Mark. That was good. Appreciate it.
Nope.
You're welcome.
So,
So
what do you think Bitcoin's going to do?
I think you're going to have a retracement on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Got to happen. So I think in the long term, it's going to go higher, obviously, but you're going to have a retracement first. So if you want to trade it, you can trade it, but wait for the retracement.
Yeah, I did a fib extension and it went to the 3.618 within $30.
Yeah. So like I was doing extensions based on the previous, 20,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And so based on the 20,000, it made it up to, it gave me reversal points at like 40, 42, and 47.
That's why I had 42.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like literally right there at 41, 42. So I think there's got to be a retracement that happens. So probably maybe to 30,000, maybe to like somewhere around here, this range here, before it goes up. But I definitely, I think it'll go higher, obviously, but you got to have a retracement first. Feel sorry for all the people that were just buying into all the hype.
Yeah, I held it from 16,000. I finally got out of it. I was holding it for a long time.
Nice.
I got it right when it dropped from 16.
Yeah. So just wait for another drop first.
Yeah.
Maybe like 31. I don't know. I'd be comfortable buying it again at like 31 or so. I mean, it just depends on what the price action is at that range or whatnots. But I mean, it's already spiked down to like 34 even. Yeah, 34 even almost. So I think that if it were to break, this is on a higher time frame, of course. This is like 12-hour, but so it's kind of the same concept, right? So if you break below this last structure here, so if you're trading below this, you're no longer in a trending, you know what I'm saying, in a
Yeah.
trend market up. So at that point, then you'd be looking at really going further down to, you know, somewhere around here.
So that retracement's around like a 0.382.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at what happened before.
Yeah.
You know, when it had that spike, and then fuck, dude, it retraced all the way to $3,000. You know, like, man, tell me you wouldn't love to pick that shit up at $3,000
Oh,
back in 2019 January. You know, look at that shit. Come on, man. You know,
I was feeling sick at that time too, though.
give me like literally make this thing drop and give me one good opportunity, man. I'll drop some serious dough on it, you know?
Yeah.
For real. Make this drop one more time down to here. Someone will get a good opportunity to get into that stuff, man. But yeah. I think real quick on gold, 1820 is the mark. If it goes below 1820, you're gonna have price come all the way down. 1760 would be the next stop. So 1820. If it breaks 1820 below, then you're gonna be looking at 1760. So you got all the space here to go down. So because it did 3 times ADR, and then now I think this is well over 3 times ADR now. If this was from here to here is 3.5, so there's this is like 4 now, 4 times ADR probably. So this may have this hit 1820 already, but it didn't break it, just spiked it. But if it does go below 1820, it's going to be sell until 1760. I was thinking this could be like a like an inverted head and shoulders. But I was also looking at, you know, this coming down here and then doing that. So there's a couple different, I think, you know, different things that could happen. Ultimately, though, the bigger picture is going higher, or is going, you know, to go higher, because this is a corrective structure here. It's not an impulsive like this. So this is going to go higher at some point. So whether it has to come down to here and then go up, because here's where there's more 1720, there's more structure from previous right here. So if it's following, let's say this, you know, it would make sense. So we'll see. But those are my thoughts. It's going to go down. It should go down further if it breaks 1820. Anyways, guys, have a good night, and we'll see you during Tuesday's London session.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.